The following is a Just Green production brought to you by the Might Be News Network.
What's up, everybody? It's the week of March 18th, 2019. I am Taylor Cooper, and this is Might Be Sports, the season finale of Might Be Sports. With me, as always, Kevin Reevy. What up, Reevy?
I've been drinking.
What up, CJ?
What's going on?
Well, the season finale of Might Be Sports. It's been a very eventful season here at the sports show of the Might Be News Network. Thanks greatly to Kevin Reevy for getting a number of guests that you don't really get a chance to hear everywhere else. We're going to talk to Andrew DiCecco in a little bit. We're hopefully going to talk to Ryan Spaeder as well in a little bit. Those are two of our repeating guests on the show, which have just been fantastic. Andrew is a rising star in what he's doing, and Ryan Spaeder is a very widely respected baseball fanatic, more or less. We've had Scoop B on here. We've had T-Mac from the voice of the Phillies. Go back and listen to these episodes because they're all entertaining and they're all great insight. Especially that T-Mac episode. I love that interview. Going back and listening to it.
Yeah, that was cool.
Because we didn't just talk to him about, what at that point we didn't, the Phillies didn't have Bryce Harper or anything like but at that point, we didn't really talk much about what was actually going on in the sport right now. We asked him a lot of broadcasting questions. We asked him about some of his favorite memories and stuff like that in broadcasting and prepping for broadcasting stuff. It was a great interview. It's just been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It was loose. My personal favorite was the Jeff Varner from Survivor.
Oh, that was a great episode.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
he had a lot of fun, and we were just playing off of that. And it was probably the only interview we've done where the guest seemingly didn't want to get off the phone. Like, we were kind of done.
Yeah,
we went beyond what we had negotiated with him.
Yeah.
And he just seemingly he wanted to keep going.
Yeah.
And I think we could have kept going, but we were kind of out of questions. We didn't know what else to do or say, right. And we had so much gold from that episode.
Oh yeah, he was great. And again, he's not just some guy who was on the set of Survivor once or twice. Like, this was a 3-time competitor.
Right.
Like, we got some serious insider information about the game, like that
right.
affected the way that you watch it.
Oh yeah, I mean, to this day, since we did this interview a month ago, whatever it was. There's been 4 episodes this season since then. Every episode, I now watch it differently. I think what did they kind of doctor? How are they?
Yeah.
Because something very strange. Not to get in the weeds with Survivor right off the bat, but something very, very strange happened last episode where they have sometimes they'll start out with 2 tribes. And then when one tribe dominates and one tribe just keeps losing players over and over and over again, they have to mix things up because it just becomes competitively imbalanced.
Right.
So they make 3 tribes. Well, they made the 3 tribes, and just by chance, I'm doing the finger quotes.
Mm-hmm.
The three tribes, they came out all to their original tribe members. It was weird. It shouldn't have worked out that way. Actually, you know what? Yeah. The one person that changed was the one person that was for sure going to be voted out, that everyone hated. But everybody else stayed within their original 3-tribe alliance. And I was like, well, how could that be? The mathematics of this are impossible. They spread this whole thing out, and everyone stayed within their own tribes. Except the one person that was going to be voted out. The odds would be 1,000 to 1 against it.
Right.
And they were talking about it on the show, that's never happened in the history of Survivor. And I'm like, well, yeah, because I think they did some shit.
I think they did it.
And I watch enough YouTube videos of magic, and I'm really big into magic stuff on YouTube right now. That's another thing I'm not going to get into. But the sleight of hand stuff, yeah, they could make somebody pick whatever rock out of a thing, and it's a different color, and you go to a different tribe. They could doctor that entirely. They make it look like, oh, pick a bag, and you open up the bag. Oh, my color's green. My color's blue. They could make you pick whatever you want. I've seen stuff on television magic-wise that blows my mind. I don't understand. For sure, CBS could doctor that crap.
Of course. And the episode that we did with him is proof of that. I mean,
yeah, because they apparently they have an ideal storyboard for the whole season.
Already planned out.
And it's not easy to make it play out the way they want, but they work their magic.
Yeah.
They make it happen. So it's weird. So I'm just, going on a first rant. And again, I started out this episode saying I've been drinking. So, there's going to be a lot of those rants.
Uh-oh.
So today was the day that I got my book in. Me and Ryan, we got our first copies of the book. They're not all out yet. We pre-sold a bunch so nobody get, mad at us. We got a few copies in. So today is like the first release date for us. So, we popped the bubbly, so to speak.
I'm trying to call Ryan Spaeder right now. Fuck it.
Yeah, we got Ryan. We got Ryan trying to call in. We're trying to call him.
We'll do it live. I'm calling him right now.
All right, we're gonna call him live. So yeah, we're planning on having Ryan on the show here. Hello, Ryan.
Hello, Ryan.
All right, we got him.
Hey, what's happening, guys? What are we already? We're jumping right into this. Huh?
Oh yeah, we're live.
Right,
we're live.
So I was already on like a drunken rant because I've been celebrating because telling the guys. So we haven't gotten all the books in yet, but we got a few advanced copies, and we were celebrating the fact that our new book came out. So we got to have you on the show, and let's talk about our new baby.
First of all, congratulations to both of you. I'm very happy for both of you. I can't wait to get my hands on one of these books. I'm very proud of you guys. Fantastic job.
Appreciate that, brother.
Absolutely. What's new with you, Ryan? How happy are you about this book?
Oh, dude, it's so great to see it. Unfortunately, it's not in my hands yet. But Kev got, like you said, get the copies. It's just so nice to see that hardcover that I really, really wanted the first time around. That they just had no. And truthfully, as much money as they made off us in the first book, they really had no business denying us it this time around. So I was really thrilled to see it.
It feels so great in your hand, man. It's great. This is awesome. This is the book we wanted to write in the first place. And now I think we've gotten it to where we're really happy with it. Spent a lot of time on it, and it's as good as we can make it. This is what we envisioned to begin with. But when you start from scratch, you never know exactly how it's going to turn out. You make mistakes, and you just build on that. And it's been, since like 4 or 5 years since we started this from the start. And now we got it to where we really wanted it. And it's good.
Yeah, I agree with Kev there. I'm just thrilled with the way it came out this time around. Not that it wasn't great the first time, honestly, but it was like an unfinished project the way I looked at it. Now I really think that we nailed this one. And I think that going forward, everybody's going to really, really enjoy this even more so than they did the first one, which we had a great reception on first time around.
That's great. And so I'm glad that both of you guys feel like this is a more complete project. It's something that you guys have been working on tirelessly, I'm sure. And I know that it's been coming along for a while because we mentioned this first time around a while ago. And earlier in the show, Ryan, I was giving Reevy props for getting some of these great guests on this season, and you're obviously one of them. It's been just a pleasure talking to you throughout this season, and also keeping up with your guys' progress with the book and everything like that. I wanted to ask you a quick question because some major baseball news happened today. Apparently, Mike Trout agreeing to the largest contract pretty much of all time. What are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts are that, Taylor, you are fake news.
Is that not happening?
No, it's happening. I'm just a little bit bent out of shape about it because I was wrong on Trout coming to Philly, and so was everybody else. And
Nolan Arenado. I'm a little upset about it. You had lineups with Nolan Arenado and Mike Trout and Bryce Harper and maybe even Manny Machado.
That was a joke.
Well, now you can say it's a joke, but
Bryce Harper lied to us all.
Yeah, I just was really hoping Trout would come home, come play for his boys. But it's all right. Good for him. One thing that took me by surprise is if you factor in only state and federal income tax, not even agent fees or clubhouse fees, all these other things that ball players have to pay that people don't realize. Trout's only taking home, and it's tough to say only when you're talking this amount of money, but in terms of what he signed for, $430 million, he's taking home $214 of that, so less than half.
Wow.
So that what's her name? AOC kind of getting her way, dancing her way to that 70%.
That's true. That's a good point. It's a point that that's why I think a lot of those guys that might have been the reason why Bryce Harper didn't sign with the Dodgers, or at least one of the leading factors to why he didn't go that direction. It seems. You could offer these guys, and it does seem weird that he signed for that much money per year. Do you think that the tax was a factor in that? $38.5 million per year, 12 years. That's a huge number. Do you think the tax factored in on that?
Well, so what it comes out to is $35.8 million a year.
Is that what it was?
Made last year he made $34,083,000. This year he makes $34,083,333, and then the following year $34,083,334 dollars. So then I guess he's getting $1,000,717 in change raise over the following 12 seasons. So, a little bit of a cost of living adjustment, if you will. You got to adjust for inflation based off his
many years.
Based on his current salary.
Do you think it's going to be worth it for him? Do you think that they're ever going to be able to build a contending team around him?
I really hope so, because it would be a shame to see him have a Ted Williams-like career, because that's the path that he's on right now. People don't realize Ted Williams played in, then it was only the World Series, but Ted Williams was only in one postseason in his entire career. And that's what Mike Trout's at right now. One postseason, 3 games, 2014 ALDS. And, he went 1 for 12 in the series. It was a home run, but, people are always like, oh, well, look at his playoff numbers. And I'm like, it's 12 at bat. Shut up.
Yeah. And he's only been there one time, like you said, which is crazy to think, because a lot of people consider him the best player in baseball. And to kind of hold out that level of talent for the World Series, or even further on in the playoffs for that matter, is kind of just it's not just a waste of talent for him, but it's a waste of talent for the league. You think about it. Everybody's always talking about baseball, how to make baseball better. How can we make baseball better? Mike Trout being on the Angels is not making baseball better.
But maybe
no.
I might be forgetting some major move, but what have the Angels done in this offseason to bolster their team right now? I can't think of one single move. Not
that's been on national, publication, nothing that nobody's tracking. It's not a big thing.
That's why it boggles my mind, what motivates Trout to re-sign when the team, they don't seem that motivated to build around him. And maybe these are the talks going on behind closed doors with him saying here's, we're going to build around you. This is the first step towards, next season, we're going to build more and more and more. But right now, I'm not really impressed with what they have if it's just Trout and, Shohei Ohtani. I mean, it's just that's it. That's their whole team, it seems.
Yeah, it's
Well,
great.
I mean, the teams could draw on at least 3 million fans a year since 2003, the year after they won the World Series. The year they won the World Series, they were at 2.3 million. Year prior to that, 2 million. And they've done a good job drawing crowds, and obviously Trout's playing a huge part in that in the more recent seasons. But you're talking about a team that over the last couple seasons, you got 80 wins, 74 wins, 85 wins, 98 wins. Great season there, but they lost the division series 3-0, one and done right out. And then 78 wins and 89 in Trout's rookie season. And you've got to realize that like Trout's responsible for, on average, about 10 of those wins just on his own. So like you got to find other ways to win ball games. I mean, the guy he's going to get you 10 wins a year, but wins above replacement, of course, when you're talking wins. But it's not enough. It's not the NBA. Mike Trout very, very well might be the Michael Jordan of Major League Baseball, but he's not. You can't win a World Series just off one player, and we've seen throughout history. Barry Bonds, World Series. Barry Bonds. Who did I say earlier? Ted Williams, World Series. I mean, Babe Ruth had Lou Gehrig, and of course, Murderer's Row, 1927. There's a reason they called it the Big Red Machine. It didn't say anything in particular about, just Joe Morgan or just Pete Rose, these guys who were a couple of the greatest players of all time. It was the Big Red Machine. It's always a team focus that brings a World Series home, and it's really never been in, as far as baseball goes, throughout history, a situation where a single player can just win it all on his own.
Did Cal Ripken Jr. ever even make a World Series? I was just thinking that.
Cal Ripken, Kev, was that you?
Yeah. Was it his first year?
All right, it's difficult hearing. What year were you born?
83. Was it his first year?
Okay. The Phillies lost to the Orioles in the World Series in the year that you were born. Come on, dude.
Right. But nobody thinks of Cal Ripken being on that team. I mean, it's just you think of his entire career being on shitty teams. Well, of course you do. Of course you do. I mean, you're the stat genius. But that just name came to my mind. You're listing like great players, and I'm thinking of guys that I grew up with. Like, geez, Cal Ripken, and he played the majority of his career without like the wild card. And I'm thinking like, shoot, he might not have made a World Series. I forgot. That was his first year.
So that was his third. That was his third season. He was the Rookie of the year prior. It was his first All-Star season, and then he went on 19. It was 19 All-Star seasons in a row, with winning the MVP first in 1983 and then again in 1991. And that actually may have been the year that might have been 92, but when Ripken won that home run contest, which he wasn't really supposed to win. And did so in Baltimore, if I recall correctly. Maybe I'm totally making it up.
Well, speaking of Spaeder knowing more than us about baseball, I know
Brady Anderson won one, but
do you have time to do a quick round of the Spaeder game, Ryan?
Oh, let's do it. My favorite.
Who wants to go first? CJ.
All right.
Oh God, my least favorite.
Tommy John.
That's a tough one. I mean, you wouldn't even have to go Tommy John. You could go like an interesting Tommy John story, interesting Tommy John stat. Be a guy coming off of Tommy John surgery.
Forget that. All right. The man asked for Tommy John. He's getting Tommy.
He's going to get Tommy John. All right.
Here you go. So in 2018, Cologne started 24 games. In 1998, he started 31 games.
Cologne.
Yeah. So he's got at least 24 starts in seasons 20 plus years apart there, obviously. And so Cologne joins one of only 8 other pitchers to do that in history. The first was early win, but going backwards there, you got Jamie Moyer, 87 and 09, Greg Maddox, 87 and 08, Kev's boy Nolan Ryan, 71 and 92,
That's my
Bert
guy.
Blyleven, 1970 and 1992, Don Sutton, 1966 and 1987, and then Tommy John, 1965 and 1988. And the significant thing about Tommy John there is he had the most amount of time in between seasons in which he had at least 24 starts, and that was going from 65 to 88. So, of course, he got 23, spanning 23 years.
Now, I'm not going to ask you to answer this now. If you have the answer now, go for it. But I'll give you time before this is over. Who has the most wins for a pitcher that has had Tommy John surgery? You know it? I don't know.
The most.
Yeah, the most wins for a pitcher.
That's a great question to ask. One which you do not know the answer to
Exactly.
On live radio.
Correct. You're the man with the answers, but I'm giving you time. So you got time. We're going to ask you a few more quick questions. You can go on the computer and do your thing, and you might be able to figure it out.
I think it's Jamie Moyer, honestly, off the top of my head.
Jamie Moyer, he had Tommy John?
Yeah, he had Tommy John, and then came back with the Rockies. And I think he only won one game with the Rockies that year when he tried to come back.
That's probably a good answer. What did he have? 260-something wins?
269. So Tommy John last pitched for the Phillies 2010. Tommy John. Jamie Moore, 2010, he had the Tommy John surgery and then made a comeback with the Rockies in 2012. And he only went 2-5, but good on him for trying to make that comeback and going out on his own terms at 49 years old.
All right, so I'm going to look for a tweet from you tonight on who's had the most wins in MLB history with Tommy John surgery, and I'm looking for Jimmy Moyer at the top of that list.
I am very confident in my answer.
All right, so mine is going to be it's an easy one, but you got to rack your brain for the best one. Mike Trout.
Oh, dude, I'm going to have to give you something that I just did today because, of course, with the signing, I had to put out some Mike Trout stats out there. So Mike Trout cost Ryan Spaeder 11 cases of beer in bets that he made, saying that Mike Trout would end up with the Philadelphia Phillies.
Really?
Yeah. Dude, one of them is remember Cameron Rupp played with the Phillies?
Yeah, catcher.
And this asshole wants Coors Light. And he just...
You don't buy
You got to
Coors
go
Light.
on Twitter because he's tweeting about it. It's great. But he goes, I'll take bottle service, Coors Light. The mountains better be freaking ice cold blue. but let me give you on.
We're drinking Boggs Light right now. Here it might be sports headquarters. We got Boggs Light right now. That's what we're drinking.
Oh, that's the best.
Oh, that's what. But we got to break out the best for the season finale.
Oh yeah, but I got to send the guy Coors Light. If that's a bet, man.
That's a
man
shame.
on my word. But a serious number on Mike Trout. So I'll give you every player in history who has a higher average WAR per 162 games than Mike Trout. Trout's is at 9.78 per 162 games. All right. Babe Ruth. That's it.
That's it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
All right, so my player, let's bring it full circle here and maybe get everybody hype again. Let's talk Bryce Harper.
Oh, gosh, let me see. Because I just put out a bunch of great stuff on him. Well, I think it's great. A lot of people don't really care for my Twitter feed for whatever reason, but I just put out a bunch of stuff on Harper when he signed. So here, let me give you this one. Players with more home runs than Bryce Harper at his age to end the 2018 season. So you got Jamie Foxx, Eddie Matthews, Alex Rodriguez, Mel Ott, Mickey Mantle, Albert Pujols, Frank Thomas, Ken Griffey Jr., Andrew Jones, kind of an outlier in there, and then Mike Trout. And that's it. So then if you go, how about players with more walks than Bryce Harper at his age ending the 28th season? You got Mickey Mantle, Mel Ott, and I think it's Ed Yost. I got to double check that name. Ed Yost, who are the only players who had more walks. So then the only players with more home runs and walks than Bryce Harper at his age at the end of the 2018 season, it comes down to just Mickey Mantle and Mel Ott, both Hall of Famers, of course. Let me give you this.
But Mel Ott was one of those weird guys where he was a front runner guy, and the back end of his career was nothing. And we obviously don't want Harper to be that kind of guy, but that's really rare territory. That's fantastic.
Well, I mean, the one thing about Mel Ott is people criticize guys like they wonder how old Albert Pujols really is. So I see that all the time. Mel Ott at 17 years old for the New York Giants batted .383 in 61 plate appearances.
That's so crazy.
So it's entirely possible that Mel Ott was maybe a grown man-child or something.
Oh yeah.
But it's possible that he was maybe a little older than actually was stated. But I got to give you this one last one on Bryce Harper because it's just I really enjoy this. It really makes me laugh. But Pete Rose signed with the Phillies to a record deal prior to the 70. I think it's the 78 season. It may have been 77 after the 77 season. And Pete's age when he signed that record deal was 37 years, 7 months, and 21 days. Bryce Harper's age when he signed his record deal with the Phillies, 26 years, 4 months, and 12 days. So this is where it gets interesting. Is Pete Rose was nearly older than Bryce Harper when Bryce Harper's contract expires. Harper will be about 38 years, 11 months, and 15 days. Having Harper signed to this massive contract that's, it's not in terms of Albert Pujols, who's going to be on the Angels until he's 45 years old. Although I did hear that the Phillies may have tossed a 20-year offer at some point to Harper, but it panned out being this 13-year one.
That's so crazy. That's a great dude.
That's a mind-blowing fact right there.
Yeah.
That to think about. I think the game's different right now. There was an expectation, I think, 20 years ago that you could play into your 40s, and I don't know if performance-enhancing drugs had anything to do with that. But right now, I just don't think over the age of 35, you're pretty much expected to be done for the most part. So, but who knows? In 10 years, everything changes. So this is a 12-year contract. In 12 years, maybe, medical advancements, you could play till you're 40 and still be an all-star. Who knows?
Right. Well, we're almost out of time with you, Ryan, but I wanted to bring your book back up. Do you guys, when is the book officially out?
It's out now on
2nd,
pre-sale.
Right,
yeah, but it's on pre-sale now. So what's the website, Ryan?
theaceofspaeder.com, SPAEDER. And then there's a tab on there for incredible baseball stacks. You just click it, and then it brings you right to the the little store window. Last I checked, though, hold on. I know we're going to eventually. I think Kev and I wanted to do a certain number for the pre-sales, and then make sure we have some for when we do signings and stuff. But we've only got 12 in stock on the website right now. So make sure you go out and get that before it's too late, because those hardcovers are going to be limited edition, of course, because our publisher didn't want to print them all in hardcover because nobody would be interested.
That's excellent.
Despite the fact that we had the number 2 baseball book in the country 3 years ago.
Oh, don't even get Kevin to. What about the other incredible baseball books? Okay.
Oh man, are we going to get into that? Should we talk about that real quick? Yeah. All right, let's just talk about it. Yeah. Let's just talk about it. So it was 2 weeks ago that we go online and we're looking for our book to see, what's on sale right now, whatever. We come across 2 books that sound an awful lot like our books. The one was, what were they called?
One was Incredible Baseball Stories, and one was Incredible Baseball Facts.
I thought there was a trivia too.
No, it was just facts and stories, which is crazy because the stories one like really blew my mind because like really like the tagline of our book was like incredible baseball stats and like like stats and stats that tell stories. That's the way we've always like sold the book, stats that tell stories. We actually had Brian Kenny, I think his blurb on our book right now is all about stats that tell stories. So the thing was, and not to talk shit or anything, but we look at who published the book and it's our publisher. And it's like, so they're like trying to piggyback, I guess, on what we did. And it just seems weird. And especially like the quote unquote author of the one book, the stories book, was the guy that edited our book.
Wow.
So we're not saying we don't want to get in trouble legally or anything, but we're not saying don't go buy that book, but buy our book because it's the real one.
Well, so here's my problem is, as you guys know, Kev and I, both of us stutter a little bit. And if Kev's out there telling somebody about our book and he's like, it's incredible baseball. And they don't know if he's going to say
Right.
stats or
They don't know if
stories.
we're going to say stories or stats. It's a problem.
That's fucked up. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
It's just a weird
Not right.
thing, and especially when they're telling us what we're worth, and we like see the bottom line every 6 months, and we see what they're making, and like the little bit we're making, and again, we don't want to like get in like illegal territory here, but they're doing really well, and when they're making books that are basically like, I don't know what we would call it, not a sequel, but like a branch off of our brand. It's like, well, clearly you're doing well off of us, but still we're getting not so much in our pockets.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a weird thing.
It's a shame.
That's a weird
That's why,
thing.
that's
It's
why
a
you gotta
weird
go to the
business.
website.
It's
but-
a weird thing.
So that's
where
why,
we'll make some money this time around.
right.
Just on the ones that we got.
Yeah, so we made an investment in ourselves and we bought the books outright and we're doing our own thing. And so far it's been really great. So, I mean, hey, go to theacerspader.com and pre-order the book. And that's how you get, a signed copy, limited edition, numbered, all that stuff. Way better than what you can find on Amazon.com.
Wow. Shots fired.
Right.
Great job, Ryan Spaeder. Thank you so much for being on the show with us.
He's the stat man.
And,
Wee bop boop bop up.
and thank you for
God,
being on the
I'm gonna-
show
I
this
think
season, too.
I appreciate it. I think in the future, though, I might just hang up before I have to listen to Kev do that.
Well, thank you so much, Ryan. It's been a pleasure speaking with you this season, and we look forward to having you back on when we come back.
All right. Take it easy, guys.
Thanks, buddy.
See ya.
Later.
All right, that was great. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to have Andrew DiCecco on, talk some NFL draft, as well as an all-new rapid fire, and go to the week. It's the season finale of Might Be Sports. We'll be right back. Make sure you check out the season finale of Might Be Tunes tomorrow, exclusively on the Might Be News Network. We got Electric Church. It's going to be a great episode. Make sure you check it out. Real quick, just want to thank everybody for listening this whole season to the Might Be News Network. It's been absolutely fantastic. Everybody out there, thank you so much from everybody here. mbnnetwork.com. It's never been easier to find your new favorite podcast. Go there, click the link at the top, and find a show. It's that easy. It'll take you to whatever platform you want to listen to it on. We're on Stitcher, Google Play, iTunes Podcasts, Spotify. Am I missing anything, CJ? I think that's bad. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're everywhere. Go fucking do it. mbnnetwork.com.
Language.
Language.
Jeez.
Welcome back to the season finale of Might Be Sports with Kevin Reevy and CJ and myself. With us on the line, Andrew DiCecco. What's up, Andrew?
Hey, what's going on, guys? How you guys doing?
Great. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. First off, I just want to wish you a happy birthday. It was your birthday recently, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, yesterday. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Fantastic. And you were at the Temple Pro Day, if I'm not mistaken, on your birthday, right?
Yeah, man. It was pretty cool. Deuce Staley was there. Joe Douglas was there.
Oh, very cool. How was it? How did they look? How did everybody look out there?
I would say Rocky Sin. He's probably going to be. He's the corner. He's probably going to be a top 60 player. I have him on my board as a top 60 player. He looked really good, and you had a lot of people that came out just to see him. And the running back there, Raquel Armstead, he looked really good in his drills, and Deuce Staley put him through the drills. And he's a guy that might be looking at in the mid rounds. That can give you some value there. He's a bigger back. He's got some wiggle to him, and he looked pretty good in the drills. I mean, and my guy Mike Dogby, he's a defensive lineman. He got snubbed from the combine, but he killed it at the East-West game. And he ended up he put up 34 reps on the bench, which would have been third best for all the defensive linemen at the combine.
Wow.
And he ran a 4.94. He's a defensive tackle, mind you.
That's crazy. That's a big deal.
So, yeah.
So what else is new? What do you think the Eagles are going to be looking for the most in this year's draft? First of all, what is their draft position? Does anybody know?
Yeah, they're taking 25.
25. Okay. What do you think they're looking for this year?
I mean, if it's me, I've always been a big proponent that the game is won in the trenches. So you need to make sure your offensive line, your defensive line are strong, because it doesn't matter how good your skill guys are. If you can't protect the quarterback and if you can't get to the quarterback, you're not going to win. So I'm looking at a defensive tackle. I know they just signed Malik Jackson, but there's a lot of that line's pretty old. I mean, you don't even know if Chris Long's coming back, but he's an older guy. Brandon Graham's older. Malik Jackson's 29. Fletcher Cox is 26. You only really have Derek Barnett. So I'm looking at Christian Wilkins, the defensive tackle from Clemson.
Okay.
Well, that's going to piss off a whole lot of Philadelphia fans if they take a defensive tackle. When it seems like, I mean, right now, you can't judge off what the fans want, because the fans right now want a running back. And it's not really, certainly not the philosophy, I think, of the Eagles to take a running back in the first round. But to take a defensive tackle, I think the fans are not going to be very happy with that. So how would you sell that?
I mean, we were at the draft when they took Derek Barnett and he got booed. You remember that pick, and but they did take a DT a couple times. You look at Mike Patterson in 2005 and Broderick Bunkley the following year in 2006. These guys didn't really pan out. They weren't like all-stars by any stretch. But I think Christian Wilkins, if he gets to 25, he's a player. Like it's a stretch that he even makes it to 25, but I think if he does, that's like a no-brainer.
Do you think there's this scenario where they actually do take a running back? Because it is towards the end of the first round, maybe you are getting more value for that pick?
Well, here's the thing with me. I'm unless they're a generational talent like a Saquon Barkley, like an Adrian Peterson, I don't really feel that any running back should be taken in the first round. You look at the shelf life for running backs, it's not very long. And this draft provides tremendous value in the 4th and 5th rounds. I don't think that there's a big drop-off in talent, if you're asking me. I don't think you look at the Alabama running backs, right? And, you have those two guys there that I'm not – Josh Jacobs and Damian Harris. And, they're okay, but they're not like I look at Trent Richardson, look at Eddie Lacy and all these other Alabama running backs that have come out, and they don't necessarily produce. Mark Ingram's the only one I could really think of. TJ Yeldon's another guy that didn't really do much. So, I mean, I'm looking in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round.
What do you think? What do you think of some of the improvements that the Eagles have made in this offseason? Again, this is Andrew DiCecco, writer for the Eagles Wire. What do you think of some of the changes that they've made this offseason already?
So I'll start with Ronald Darby. That's a move that a lot of people they loved that move, and I wasn't really a big fan of it because Ronald Darby's a good corner, but I don't necessarily think that I think he would be better in other defenses. He's not really a traditional off-the-ball corner. He's more like I've seen him play pretty well when he's asked to, go up and press somebody. So I think he would be more of an asset to another team than he would be for the Eagles. So, and you also have so many young guys there that's like, how do you determine who's going to play? Like, there's going to be like some talent that doesn't play. Like, you have an Avonte Maddox, you have a Cravon LeBlanc who really was one of the better nickel corners in the NFL the second half of last season. And then you had your Sidney Jones. You still need to find out what you have in him. You invested a second round pick in him. And, Jalen Mills, who knows? I mean, he's still in a walking boot. I read something that earlier this month, he's still in that boot. So your top three corners are not healthy. Sidney Jones, Jalen Mills, and Ronald Darby. So, I really don't know what they're doing there. There's rumors that Rasul could get traded for a running back, like a Duke Johnson, like a Matt Breida. So, there's a lot of uncertainty there, but I don't necessarily think that Ronald Darby was a good signing. I like the Malik Jackson signing. That was a good move. I think he offers a little bit more than Tim Jernigan does. Tim Jernigan has that back injury. You don't know if he'll ever be the same. And you really needed there's not a lot of depth there on the defensive line. So you had to really get a reinforcement there. You have a Trayvon Hester who's not going to be much more than a third tackle off the bench. And, you need another defensive end.
I do like the Darby move myself because, you don't want to be reactionary to what happened last year. But, there was a point last year where we lost a lot of guys in the secondary pretty quick and just in like rapid fire. And all of a sudden, we got a bunch of guys starting in the secondary and nobody's heard their names before. And it's like, oh, shit. What are we going to do?
But we made the playoffs with those guys.
So those guys actually performed. But I think the Eagles right now, they made that move thinking this could happen again. If we want depth in one spot, we want it to be there at cornerback, at safety, whatever.
I can see that. But then I would also go back to my point by saying if you reinforce the defensive line, it makes everything better. It makes all levels of the defense better.
Right. And that's why I love the Malik Jackson move. I think that's fantastic. I think he's a really big talent and he's got a lot of game left in him. And you could put him, in the middle for a long time where Tim Jernigan, you were kind of looking like his time might have been done soon. So, it's nice to replace him with some younger talent. It's not a brand new 24-year-old, draft pick, but he's still got some years left. So, yeah, I like that move to move back to national kind of talk. What do you think? Kyler Murray, where's he going? Number one to the Cards or some talk now? He met with the Cardinals today.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I do think he's going to Arizona. That roster doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. You might be shopping Josh Rosen. You're probably going to take Kyler Murray, but you just signed Terrell Suggs, who's like 55 years old, and you signed Jordan Hicks, who's an injury-prone linebacker. I really like that team. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I think that Steve Keim, their general manager, is one of the worst ones. He's up there with Gettleman. I think he's going there, and I think at the 49ers, I think they're looking at Quinnen Williams, defensive lineman from Alabama. Number 3 with the Jets, I think you're looking at Nick Bosa, Joey's brother, who sat out this whole year in training.
Yeah.
I think 4 Josh Allen, a defensive end for Kentucky with the Raiders, and then to round out the top 5, I think would be one of those LSU linebackers, Devin White for the Buccaneers, who just lost Quan Alexander.
Okay, so that's interesting. So to back it up with Murray, if he goes number 1, do you think? So you name these moves that the GM's making there, and it sounds like he's trying to save his job for one more year, and that would be like a Kyler Murray would be that kind of pick because he seems like the kind of guy he's going to get you 1 year. But if you're looking to build on the next 5 years, I wouldn't want a running quarterback like that. And maybe he is a great passer of the football, but you can't deny his 5'10" height. Right. And you list the amount of quarterbacks who've been able to do that in their career, and you can list, 2 guys, Drew Brees and
Russell Wilson.
Maybe Doug Flutie.
Yeah.
Maybe Doug Flutie.
And Russell. Yeah, but Doug Flutie was a weird oddity. He was way shorter than that, and still he found a way. But yeah, Russell Wilson's a great example. One of the best quarterbacks in football. So yeah, but those are 2 guys. And I'm still not convinced that running the football from the quarterback position is the right move. Lamar Jackson, good luck to Baltimore. Yeah. I think they're putting all their chips on the wrong guy because I mean, I don't want to put it on one game, but the playoffs weren't too kind to that dude. And,
You're right.
Mike Vick, Vince Young, RG3, plenty of guys that just ran the football. I mean, you could even name guys that just got hurt while running the football. Carson Wentz. I mean, it's
Donovan
not.
McNabb back in the day.
You don't want your quarterback to run the football. I mean, Eli Manning, love him or hate him, he won 2 Super Bowls, and he stayed in the pocket. And whenever possible, he would intentionally ground the damn football before getting hit. He was afraid of getting hit. And also, to his due credit, he was very durable. He could take a hit too. But he's the kind of guy you want for the most part. I mean, his brother would be a very better comparison, Peyton Manning. He could take a hit and keep on going. But I don't know. You don't want this this weird trend where it's trending towards totally running quarterbacks. They're not going to stay healthy. There's no scenario where they do. So I don't really.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at it it's becoming a passing league anyway.
Right. So I mean, but that's what I think they want the run to set up the pass now with some quarterbacks. That's clearly what Baltimore wants. Because you look at Lamar Jackson's stats, you want him to run to set up the pass, which makes no sense to me because he's going to get hurt. He just is. It's always happened in the history of the league. Those guys get hurt. So I don't get that. I mean, Kyler Murray is the kind of guy who can pass the football, but then you look at his height. So I wonder what they're going to do. If it's a 1-year thing, if the GM's just looking to save his job for 1 year and just go off of that. Maybe.
Yeah, it would kind of certainly follow in the trend that they're doing. A lot of their offseason moves just make no sense to me. Just like the Giants. The way that those two respective teams are constructed, I mean, they're going to be a mess for a while.
Speaking of the Giants, and real quick because we're running up against it here, but I wanted to ask you about the Cleveland Browns and some of the moves that they've made. One most notable recently, obviously, OBJ going up there. What do you think about that division this year? Do you think that Cleveland could actually go from where they were to winning the division this year?
Yeah, I think when you look at the Cincinnati Bengals, that there's some question marks there. With Andy Dalton, AJ Green's getting a little bit older. Vontaze Burfict just got released. They've always been kind of a mess, and they have a first-year head coach. And then you look at the Baltimore Ravens. Like Kevin was saying with Lamar Jackson, you don't know. You haven't seen a large body of work from him, so you really don't know what you're getting. He may not finish the season. You don't know. I mean, you just signed a new running back. So I think that, and then the Steelers. I mean, obviously they're a complete disarray. They lost their stars, and Roethlisberger he could very easily just turn around and retire. He's kind of flaky. So I mean, I think that they're the team that they have to be the favorites.
It seems easy, but I mean, you also keep in mind the dream team thing with the Eagles, 8 years ago, whatever it was, and I'm starting to think because they have a dream team. No one's going to say it because they're afraid, because that's, you can't say those words now, but they do have the dream team. They have a great team on paper.
Both sides of the ball.
Right.
They're really
and
stacked.
they got the LSU duo of Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham back together.
Yeah. That's going to be
scary
crazy.
Good.
That's
and
crazy.
once they get Kareem Hunt back after 8 games?
8 games.
Yeah.
And then it's all right, so that actually benefits them because they have Nick Chubb who can run the football. He's actually really, really good.
Yeah.
Nick Chubb's very good.
He's a second round pick, an early second round pick. So he's almost like a first round caliber running back.
Yeah.
That had a great year last year. They get to run him as much as they want. And then, by the way, midway through the season, you get a healthy, refreshed Kareem Hunt, who hasn't played in a year, will be ready to go from the jump.
Yep.
So if I'm them, I'm looking at the offensive line in the draft, and if you shore that up, I mean, it's going to be really hard
golden.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's so crazy.
But it never works out that way at the NFL. You can look at these things on paper, and it never works out that way.
Yeah.
They have to make sure they have a good backup quarterback plan, because that can derail your whole season. I mean, if the Eagles didn't have Nick Foles, in 2017, I mean,
Yeah.
they wouldn't have gotten where they did.
Andrew DiCecco from the Eagles Wire, thank you so much for being on the show with us this season. We really appreciate you and just the insight that you give us. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Same here. I'm glad to be on.
Absolutely, buddy. Thank you so much, man. We'll catch you next season.
Yes, sir. Take care, guys.
All right, buddy. Thanks.
All right.
That's fantastic. We have a few minutes left. I'm gonna do a couple rapid fires.
All right. I think he's got some good ones.
Chris Matthews warns Bryce Harper, don't blow it in Philly or else.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Wait, Chris Matthews, the guy from, what was the name of his show? Like, it was like Chris. They made fun of him on SNL, like, as like the rapid fire talk guy. I'm Chris Matthews.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. That's
the political guy.
Yes.
Right? All right. Why do these political guys keep talking baseball? Because
He's
they're
from
all
Philly.
from DC?
No,
Or
he's from Philly.
All right. Why can't they just stay in their lane?
Johnny Manziel hits practice field with new AAF team.
which AAF team is he playing for? Do you know?
Memphis.
I guess good for Johnny Manziel. I mean, they were struggling to pay their players' paychecks early in the season, but I haven't heard anything else negative about the AAF. I haven't been watching as much as I thought I would be. Not because it wasn't entertaining, just because I just haven't been watching it. But I guess good for him.
I will say this real quick. It's a long road back for him to the NFL, but his style of play, like we were just talking about, is en vogue right now, like in the NFL. A running quarterback that can kind of throw the football. That's the kind of guy you might want as your backup to a guy like Lamar Jackson or Baker Mayfield.
He's got to be looking at this Cleveland lineup like, God damn it.
Right.
Right now.
And he would, that's what I'm saying. Like, ironically, he would be the perfect backup to Baker Mayfield. He's
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield light.
Yeah, no, I
But
agree with that.
that would never work out. He would
Yeah.
never be signed in Cleveland in a million years.
Conor McGregor demands UFC ownership. Give me my rightful shares.
What are they jipping him out of some money or something?
No, he thinks that he's such a draw. He deserves
Oh,
the
Well, that's always
owner
been
percentages.
the argument because they've been holding back more money than, like, they own the league more than like boxing does. Like,
Yeah.
they're their own league and brand where boxing is just a sport. You know what I mean? Like, there's no real, like, league to speak of for the most part. Like, you got guys like, boxers that just a fight last week in Dallas, really nobody gave a crap about. And these guys probably made 10 times more money than whoever was the headliner at the last UFC fight.
Robert Kraft offered plea deal in prostitution case includes STD test.
he's just going to straight start snitching on people?
No,
Yeah.
it's a good deal. So everybody involved pretty much gets the same deal where you have to, it's the STD test, the 100 hours of community service. It's this weird stipulation where you have to say, if the trial would have went forward, you admit you would have been found guilty, which is like, it's one of those weird things where it's like, why you got to slip that in at the last minute? Like,
Yeah.
are we doing this or are we not doing this? No. You need to say that you'll take this deal, but if we would have went forward, you got to admit that you were wrong. Just tell everyone you were wrong. It feels like a weird, like, breakup rule thing. Like, just admit to everybody that you fucked up, that you slept with somebody else, and let everybody know, and we'll break up. We'll be amicable, but you got to tell your friends and everybody that you were the one that messed
fucked
up.
Huh.
It's weird. I don't just. He's got to wait. He's got to pay $10,000 in fines too. So
Yeah.
he's not getting off scot free.
Wow. Next.
Peloton sued. You didn't work out the rights to use our songs music companies claim.
Oh, so this is that bike thing?
Yeah, that's that bike that's interactive and has the workouts and the courses.
So they're
and-
using unlicensed music?
Yes.
Uh-huh. See, that's why season 1 of the Might Be News show isn't on the internet. We
This
do
is
things
what-
by the book.
So there was like a video that Will Smith put out like a month ago which, by the way, like for some reason, like 2018 started and Will Smith was like, I need to join YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and everything. He made a video that like blew my mind. He has a team on like just for legal to settle. He said something like he has like 20 or 30 lawsuits a year that just that come against him, and they just settle all the time. And it's like, is this what we are? Like, this is what we've come to. We're just he's doing nothing wrong. It's just when you're famous, when you make money, you just get sued. It's just the way it is. Peloton makes a ton of money, you just get sued. It's insane. That's the part of whatever you believe, whatever side of the aisle you are on, that's the worst part of America, is this litigious nonsense where everyone wants to sue everyone. It's
Well, apparently
brutal.
they're stealing intellectual property.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're stealing music without getting the rights to use it on.
I'm not saying I don't know anything about this. This is the TMZ quick hits. I haven't done the deep dive. Maybe it's legit, maybe it's not. But we were talking not too long ago about like the dances in Fortnite. Let's sue about that. Like, there's so many lawsuits right now. It is absurd. We need to cut out that part of society. Just earn your keep. That's it.
Well, that's kind of a part of your point, is that like these musicians in this particular case,
Right.
these musicians are trying to
For sure.
pay their bills, and Peloton, who's selling their bikes for how much are they, CJ? $500, $1,000,
Yeah, they're
some
up
shit.
there.
They're crazy expensive. Like, yeah, they need to be breaking people off in the right places, or going to one of these places that has the music with no rights. You can use it.
Yeah, free use.
It's not as good as fucking probably what they're stealing from people, but
But if you're on your Peloton biking away and like you're watching like a video of somebody in New York, I don't know how these things work, but like they're playing a song from like I don't know why, but the first name that came to my mind was Cisco. How did that song go?
the
That
thong song?
thong, thong,
Yeah,
thong.
yeah.
So like that song, yeah, the thong song is playing in the background. Like, what? All right, they're using the thong song, but like, what are you getting from that? You're not downloading this song on your Peloton bike. Like, I
They're-
feel
They're technically broadcasting it.
right.
So
that's a
a way
violation.
around this would be for Peloton to
Yes.
contact a record agency or someplace and buy just a catalog of music, and basically anybody who is associated with Peloton that broadcasts the shit live to other Pelotons, they have to put on a playlist. It's just this is what you have to work
Right. My point is, I just don't see how it damages the artist or the song.
with. Yeah.
People are going to hear that song and download the song.
Right.
That's the part of like society I want to see cut out. I see Peloton using it to their advantage, but I also see it as an advantage for the artist.
But look at it this way. So you get a couple downloads, but Peloton's making a ton of money,
Let them.
and your songs and they're not giving you any compensation. It's just like in a movie. If they use your song in a movie, it's just like your publisher stealing your book theme.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is I need to write an original song about Peloton, like with Peloton in the lyrics.
Yes.
And then,
100%.
Yeah. So this is there's an opportunity.
Drew Brees, 2-3 more years left, says ex-teammate.
Yeah, I guess 2 years. I'd give Drew Brees 2 more years.
1 year left, says his inevitable torn ACL this year.
Oh wow.
He's old. He's gonna get hit. He's not Tom Brady. He's a small little man. He's going to get hurt. That's why Teddy Bridgewater re-signed, because he knows it too. Everybody knows it. Drew Brees is done. Next.
Kobe Bryant on Lakers. Playoff chances maybe next year.
Maybe next year. That's a big
like,
maybe.
Is that even like going out on a ledge? Like, it's just, yeah, maybe next year. I mean, it's not going to be this year, right? Like, we've already, like, decided it's not going to be
Yeah,
this
it's
year,
definitely
right?
not. No.
So yeah, maybe next year.
Yeah, maybe.
Michigan gymnast coach punished for banging gymnasts in public.
What? Banging a gymnast in public?
Yes.
As in sexual intercourse?
It was consensual,
They-
yes, but it's against
Taylor,
the rules of
Please,
his
the technical
contract.
term is banging. I can't believe
the
you.
TMZ term
We're on
is
the
bang.
air right now. Jeez.
Well, that's
Wow.
that's wild. That's all I really have to say about that.
Ronda Rousey's husband fight off security at WWE Raw.
He got in a fight with WWE security? Her husband did?
Yeah.
Which is like never the scenario where you question, like, wait, so she wasn't fighting? Only Ronda Rousey. She might be the only female on the planet where you'd be like, wait, her husband was fighting security? Can you name one other female on the planet where you would question that?
Well, I mean, he's also UFC, plus he's a
Right.
big
you gotta
dude.
you gotta know, but everybody knows Ronda Rousey. Nobody
Yeah.
knows Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey's husband's name is Ronda Rousey's husband.
Yes.
What do you have one more for us?
No, that's
That was it? Let's go to the week. The season finale. The greatest of all time.
Of the week.
So I have two goats of the week this week, and it's these guys sitting here at the table with me. I'm very proud of this show. This show is unlike the other shows in a sense that I did not know Kevin Reevey prior to making this show, whereas all the other shows I pretty much knew everybody already. This one was a wild card for me in the beginning because I didn't know how it was going to work out. I didn't know if we were going to have the level of content that I thought that the other shows might. And realistically speaking, this show has generated some of the best content on the network this season. I got into it a little bit earlier in the episode with some of the guests, but I thoroughly enjoy doing the show with the two of you guys. I love our segments. Our rapid fire works out great. Even when we were doing Guess the Spread was fantastic. I think it just adds a whole nother level to a sports show that somebody might listen to. We have great chemistry that has, again, developed over the course of this season. And it's just been a wonderful experience sitting down here every Wednesday or Tuesday, whatever day it is, with you guys to record this show. It's been fantastic. And I thank both of you guys for doing this with me. It's great.
Thank you.
It's great.
I appreciate that. Let me wipe my tears away. There are tears of happiness.
Well, that makes my goat more awkward.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. So, Mike Trout, my goat of the week. No, so, to address all that, thank you, Taylor. I'm not great behind the microphone, and especially when I drink a little bit. And today I drank a little bit more. I said off the top of the show, so cut me some slack. My book came out today. I've been drinking a little bit, not too much, but I tend to stutter when I drink, so makes it a little difficult behind the microphone. But so far, so good. Not
You've done a
too
great
bad.
job. Great job.
Thank you. But I think as the season went on, I got a little bit better, and that's just what I wanted to do was come on here and do a regular show and do something regimented and get used to being behind a microphone, because I always felt so awkward, like when, phone interviews for book stuff, and it made me so nervous. I wanted to do something regular where I was comfortable with doing that kind of thing. So I appreciate that. And we had some awesome conversations and opportunities.
Yeah.
And shoot, we talked with like so many different guys. It oddly turned into like an interview show where that wasn't the goal in the first place, but it just sort of went that way. And each week I'm thinking, like, who can we talk to that'd be interesting to talk to in sports? And that's what I look forward to most, is like trying to find somebody else to talk to. And just even like the weird ones, like the roller derby. Like that was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And just like broaden our horizons and learn about new things. And they were so excited about it, and it made me excited about the sport. Like, holy
Right.
shit, they were fantastic and all that kind of stuff. So that was cool. But really, my go to the week, screw whatever stuff we're doing here. Mike Trout just made $430 million.
That's outrageous. Yeah, I get it. Totally.
So good for him. Why I chose him as my go to the week is because he could be the greatest of all time. The go-tote, whatever, however you would
You think
say.
so? You think he's the one?
Because, so interestingly, you could go on, the aceofspader.com right now after you pre-order the book, and you could read a article Ryan did about 6 months ago on Walter Johnson, who's considered one of the greatest pitchers of all time, and he concluded that at best, Walter Johnson topped out at like 92 miles per hour. Like, if he threw his hardest. So, yeah, if you compare guys 100 years ago to right now, they don't compare, but you have to compare them in their specific eras. So, for sure, if you compare era to era, I don't think anyone will ever compete with Babe Ruth.
Right.
You could say Willie Mays on the pitching side. There's more competition there. Walter Johnson, Bob Gibson, I'm not sure. But Mike Trout, what he's doing right now, for like pure athletic achievement, he could for sure be the greatest baseball player of all time. I think he might already be there.
Wow.
You throw him back in 1920 and he's hitting 440 and, 63 home runs. Like, it's
Right.
That's insane. Again, you can't do that, but if you're just basing it on athletic ability, he's right there. So he's a guy, if you're going to pay that kind of money, he's worth it.
Wow. CJ, you said you had one?
Yeah, I got one. I had two I was floating around, and one of them was Taylor. But
Wow.
when I sat down, I decided I was going to pick one of them, and I went the game time decision, and I picked the other one,
Gotcha.
and it's co-host Kev
Wow.
for having to turn on every show every week and potentially someone picking on him.
Somebody
and,
trash.
good.
and just he's rolling with the punches every week.
He does. He I don't know how he does it.
So because he could just go into it and he has no idea, but he knows.
He knows something's gonna happen.
Yeah, he will be mentioned in some way, shape, or form, whether it's Bruce going after him, whether it's when Kevin and I did This Week in Sports History, whether it's Relatable Radio, whether it's him even being on the podcast
Yeah,
and having to deal with it.
It makes for good inter-show content.
it
Yeah.
does. Kev's inconsistencies and just overall shittiness makes for great content for the whole network. And I'm glad that he's everybody's speed bump that they just run over. I love it. And I love Kev. And I love you guys. It's been a fantastic season. MBNnetwork.com.
So yeah, for the season finale, we only have we have 2 more hours left of this episode. We're about halfway through. 2 more hours of content. We're going to be talking to. We got another roller derby team coming in here because we wanted to provide the counter opinion. We can't just have one roller derby team in here, so we got them coming in. We got a whole big thing. Just sit back. We got a whole lot coming at you.
Coming at you.
Or not? No, we're gonna end it now.
We don't.
We're gonna end it. Oh, we're gonna.
Yeah, it's over now.
Oh, all right.
I hear you have a
I didn't
book
get that
signing
memo.
coming up.
Oh shoot. Yeah. All right. We got book signings. All right. Yeah, I got dates. I wasn't prepared for this. It came up quick. All right. So we got March 29th. That's wrong. That date's entirely inaccurate. Not March 29th. I'm sorry. March 31st is going to be Hunt's Annex Lounge in Ridley Park, PA. That's going to be around 2 o'clock. Show up between 2 and 10. Show between opening and close.
Wow.
We'll be there at some point. March 31st, Sunday. That's the first Sunday Phillies game of the season. So whenever the game is, I'm assuming it's going to be a 1 o'clock game. Show up there. And the big one, April 4th, it's going to be at Frank's American Pub in Downingtown, PA. The time on that, CJ, what do you think?
You said you were doing 6.
6 o'clock. 6 o'clock at Frank's American Pub on April 4th. Ryan Spaeder and myself will be at both spots, both dates, signing books. Once they run out, they're done. So we got 1,000 copies. We pre-sold, I think, 200 to this point or so. I think he said he had 15 left, so we're at like 185 sold. So when they're done, they're done. So we're doing these signings. So if you're in the area, come out and we'll have some fun.
It's great. Fantastic. Great job to both you guys tonight and for the entire season. Again, I'm Taylor Cooper. We'll see you guys next season. It'll be about a month, 6 weeks, something like that. MBNnetwork.com. It's never been easier to find your new favorite podcast. Go catch up on new episodes, old episodes, blah, blah, blah. Check out new shows. If you only listen to one show, you owe it to yourself to check out other ones because they're just as good. We'll see you in a few weeks. Thanks for listening.